In a world desperate to tear itself apart, only one man, and some other people, stand in the way of total destruction. Together they will right the wrongs, make bad good, and single-handedly destroy evil, together. Who is this man, you may ask? This man is Geoff.
Hello and welcome to Geoff Jones and Friends Make It Better, the show that takes life's little annoyances, breaks them down, spins them around, whisks them until they're light and fluffy and quite simply better. Today I'm joined by author Garrett Jones. Hi Garrett, how are you and what are we making better today?
Today we're talking about terrible, crappy drivers on the road.
Something that whether you drive or walk or cycle is an epidemic.
Yeah. And it's one of those things like I can't tell you the number of times I've encountered just awful drivers just over the last, just 40 years. It's here in California, especially because where I live, we have a ton of people who are new to the area because we're about 15 miles from a Navy base. And so, like, if you've seen the new Top Gun Maverick, there are some scenes that are shot on that Navy base. So Tom Cruise was here for a spell. But yeah, we have a lot of people who are coming into the area either because they're part of shipping or logistics or whatever, or because they're new to the area and they're moving here and they just don't understand. And on top of that, where I live in Hanford, it was a train town. So we have the city is bisected by a north-south rail line that is used both by our Amtrak passenger trains and our freight trains, and it's just a pain in the butt because the planners for the city did not plan for, hey, at some point we're going to grow beyond 5,000 people, and we're probably going to need to find some way of redirecting traffic when trains are stopped on the tracks.
Yeah, it sounds like quite a large oversight. First of all, I've got to say, I mean, surely Tom Cruise, I'm assuming he's a good driver, considering he does all his own stunts.
You think? Right?
You think? How big's this army base?
Navy base, and it's the largest inland air base. Most of our pilots for the Navy get trained here at some point or another before they get spread out to other locations, and it's a pretty good size. We about 3 years ago, they held an air show out at the base, and once you got through the gate, it was probably about another 10-15 minutes just to get to where the parking was near the airfield, because of the actual airfield spans from the county that we're in into another county, but it's all federal land because it's owned by the Navy.
Sure. Wow. So that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Get in and out. I mean, obviously, I suppose they could just fly, just kind of drop in over the top of you and not take up the roads at all, which would be, I suppose, more helpful for them. What they've, I see. So where I live, so I live in quite a small kind of town in the south of England. And just to be fair, along the way we do have an army base near us, but that doesn't affect. But what we do have is a kind of local council, so local government, which are obsessed with any bit of land. So there used to be loads of kind of green farmland, but now it's just houses, or it's more businesses, or it's houses and businesses. And but the roads stay the same. The infrastructure is the same. So what you have is more cars on the road and traffic, which then leads to people making stupid decisions of, just the other day coming out of my road, there's a bus stop just right at the top of my road, and everyone should stop, but they don't. They kind of swing round as you're pulling out. And the amount of times you almost get hit in a day is ridiculous. And I cannot stand bad drivers.
I can't either.
To the extent where if I do something stupid when I'm driving, it annoys me because I'm like, why did I do that?
Yeah. And I'm constantly trying to I really hate it when drivers forget to turn on their blinker. So last night, Last night is a great example. Or no, was it last? It was sometime in the last 24 hours. I was driving. I was on my way home, and the driver ahead of me, he starts pulling over to the side, but he doesn't have his blinker on, and obviously he's going to be turning off the road onto a side street. But it's like I've seen people make that decision where they're going to turn, but then it looks like they're committed. Mm-hmm. But then they realize, oh, this is the wrong street, and then they pull back in front of you without even paying attention. And again, no use of a blinker. And I'm like, what are you doing? And it's one of those moments where I wish I had like this bit of technology in my car that I'm able to dial in the license plate number, and it connects me to a speaker in their car and say, dude, learn how to drive. Remove head from sphincter, then drive.
Do you know what? I thought it was going to be, go through to the police. You could report it. No, just a direct link.
Direct line.
I've done that. That would be amazing. Just right now, I need to tell this person just how bad it was. Punch it in, and go directly to them. Oh my god, that's amazing. Of
course, my luck would be such that probably someone would call into me, whatever vehicle I'm in, and be like, dude, get off your phone, quit trying to order your McDonald's, and just drive. The need to eat is not great.
Yeah, I don't do the road rage as in kind of get in people's faces or anything like that, but I am vocal when I drive about other people. And unless the kid's in the car, my wife always says, Geoff, stop it. What if they hear you? I'm like, look, we're in a car, they're in a car. No, well, they may be able to read your lips. I was like, what? How are they going to read my lips? Well, okay, to be fair.
Does it work for MI6 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had one incident on the road. I was, I worked in education for a spell, and we are having a teacher shortage, especially throughout California. And so a few years ago, I was working as a substitute teacher, and I was on my way back home from completing a day's work. And I was in this, it was a 20-year-old Chrysler, and it's basically a boat on the road. And this guy is cruising by on a motorcycle, and he's just tailgating the heck out of me. And finally, I wasn't even really paying attention to him, and I was on a speakerphone call with somebody else, and so I made a gesture, and he thought I was talking, or I was motioning at him, and I wasn't even paying attention to what he was doing. He came alongside, and he kept pace with me, and he's sitting there like trying to get me to pull over. And I'm like, what is the problem with you? Like, I'm not going to pull over. This guy looked like he could kick my butt. But he's sitting there kicking at the wheel well of my car on the driver's side. He's spitting on the car. He's flipping me off. And I'm just like, you do realize that if you try to kick me again, and if I suddenly hit the brake, you go flying. He to the point where he followed me off the highway up the off ramp to the crossing street just to try and cuss me out. And I'm like, what is and I'm like, dude, I'm on the phone. I showed him my phone, and I'm like, I'm on a phone call. I have no idea what your problem is. And dude, I reported him. I called the police. I'm like, be aware, this guy's psycho.
That's the only thing you can do. You can't kind of give him a little nudge in the car and kind of solve the problem. I know. People are mad, especially really gets on my nerves. It's when they've done something wrong. I was at a roundabout, and I know kind of America, the roundabout is a relatively new concept, or not.
Well, I'm familiar with them, but we actually have a couple here that that were put in the last few years. But the way they're done, they're not like your traditional traffic circles, where you just enter and go whichever direction you need to go. These simultaneously try to guide 2 or 3 different lanes of traffic at the same time. So you could have one lane that goes into the actual roundabout and then goes around, or circles back around so you can make a U-turn. The other lane, as you're going into it, guides you off to the side road But then that center lane also allows you to go on that side. And like you've got 2 lanes going the same direction, 1 lane going around. Make up your damn mind.
I can imagine the absolute carnage.
Now, our city council is actually putting 3 on. We have this one street that cuts through downtown. It's one of the main streets in downtown. And they're putting 3 on this street at the intersections, all within a quarter mile of each other.
Yeah.
And so, because like the streets that's this one road intersects are 6th Street, which is the furthest south, then 7th Street, which is also a main artery into downtown, and then 8th Street. So they're going to put them in at these intersections, 8th, 7th, and 6th. And the crazy thing is that most of our drivers are not familiar with them. 2, they're all within such close proximity. There's not going to be any really good flow of traffic. And 3, the intersections at 7th and 8th Street are part of a parade route that we have for our Christmas parade. So the Saturday after Thanksgiving, so the end of November, we're going to have this huge. I mean, they haven't been put in yet, but once they're installed, we're going to have these Christmas parades that are going to be coming through, and most of them, we're in an agricultural community. So a lot of the people who are participating are they're having use of farmers like tractor trailers, and they're going to be pulling through, and they're not going to be able to make those turns. They're going to be so tight that they'll basically just go over the roundabout, and it's going to cause damage. It's like, so all this planning for beautification of our downtown and to decrease the speeding in those intersections is all for naught, because it's going to get ruined by these tractor trailers.
By these big tractors. Yeah, so that's proper. I mean, we've got some places because they can kind of having the roundabout that close together can cause backup as well. I mean, near where I live, actually, there is a place you have a stretch of motorway, less than a quarter of a mile, and there is just you build up a bit of speed, and there's another roundabout. And I was at that one, and so we have various sizes. This was just happened to be a small one. It could have just been a T junction. For some reason, someone thought, great idea, let's put a little roundabout in there. And I'm coming out of this kind of one road, and it's my right of way. So in the UK, to the right, the person has right of way. And so I start going. This one comes around, and it's summer, so all the windows are open. And I kind of throw the hands up, and I get, it's my effing right of way. And I kind of went, no, it effing isn't. And it's not. But the thing is, that person now, and this is 6 months ago-ish, this person has spent, I'm sure, as much time as I'm thinking, cool, that guy was in the wrong. But I'm in the right. And I will never meet this person again I need to explain to them why they're in the wrong, because they obviously think that they're in the right. Or at least if they thought, they might have driven off and thought, what, they are in the right. Maybe they really want to apologize. But I'm just never going to meet them ever again.
Oh yeah, and then you just sit there anxious about it and constantly obsessing on whether or not that conversation should ever happen.
Yeah. Yes, and because that person now, what if they do it all the time? They think they've got the right of way all the time. And I'd have these conversations, and my wife's like, babe, please, it was months ago. I couldn't even tell you what this person looked like anymore, but I just know that it was my right of way. But maybe I should let it go.
Well, I've got to be careful, because I've got an almost 6-year-old, and he'll repeat things. Yeah. Like I remember we had a memorial service back in June, late June, and we're heading back to my parents' house for the reception, and he's sitting there in the back seat, and he's being a little squirrely because he didn't get a chance to really run around before the reception, and we had to keep him corralled, and so he wants to burn off energy. And so he's sitting there kicking the back of my seat. It's driving me nuts. I'm trying to make sure that I don't, go lay into him. And then finally this guy just like cut me off. And I'm like, damn it. He goes, damn it. I'm like, this is, and keep in mind, like 3 years ago, 3 years ago, he told his and this is before he was in school or anything, he told his babysitter to F off. And my ex-wife was like, he said that, he used that word, and it didn't come from me, but he used it. And my being a writer, my first question was, well, did he use it in context?
Yeah.
That did not go over well. Let me tell you.
So, with kids as well, with when they are young, if they do say so about it, the context is important, because they're like, okay, at least they get it. They're not just saying it.
Oh yeah. Oh, and yeah, as an almost 6-year-old, he is getting very fluent in speaking sarcasm, because it's used at his mom's house, it's used at my house. And like when I was a teacher, they're like, don't ever use sarcasm with kids. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's how they're going to learn.
Yeah. You got to set them up for the real world.
Exactly.
He's 9 now, but when he must have been 7, I think he was. Started using air quotes, but correctly. I know adults that kind of don't use them correctly. But
I know.
It's like, yeah, okay, Dad, we're never late. Well, okay, I didn't even use it, but you get.
Oh, yeah.
He's much more clever than I am. I was like, how? Okay, fair, but he used it right. Yeah, he's doing it against me, kind of, getting at me. Yeah, all right, Dad. But it's like, wow, okay, gotta give you the props for that. He's going to be a good driver, though. I just know, because I am, and my wife started driving, so she's been driving kind of 13 months now, and she never or bad experience with a driving instructor when she was young. So I think 43 now she is. And so started again with, actually started kind of pre-COVID. So it's kind of started at 40 and passed at 43 or 42, but because he wasn't allowed to take lessons for about 18 months or a year. Jeez. And but yeah, so for the last kind of, I don't know, 20 years, it's been, Geoff, no. Oh, come on, you're so angry when you drive on and this. And now
she gets it.
Now she gets it. And she gets like, and the first thing I hear about isn't anything about a day. It's how many people tried kind of having a go at her, or driving badly, or walking out in front of her. And like, yeah. What did you do? Oh, I said to them, they better effing watch themselves, because I was like, right, okay. And so now, our 9-year-old is so we try not to swear about it. Sometimes it gets a bit difficult not to. I mean, if someone does something really dangerous, then I kind of lose it, because if I've got the kids in the car, then you're heightened anyway. But he's now he's going to be the worst of us, because he sits there and he's like, God, look at that person on the 9 years old. That person on the bike. God, they're trying to kill themselves. That kid on that scooter, he wasn't watching where he was going. Why haven't they got their lights on?
So he's 9 going on 60.
That's it. I don't even have to bother anymore. Like, I'll sit him in the front with me. Right, there's someone there, shout at him. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, he hasn't used his signal, Dad.
My first experience, because like here in California, you're able to get it. Well, they've made some changes to the law over the last 20 some years, but I got my driver's license when I was 16, because that's when you're able to legally do it. But before that, you have to have at least 6 to 12 months of behind the wheel experience, either through active training or using a driver's permit with a legal driver in the car. And so I would drive with my folks and stuff like that. My dad was the easiest one to deal with, because he's pretty level-headed and he's really good at making sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. My mom, on the other hand, was always she still is very reactive to things. And so the first time I got a chance to drive, we're driving across town to this Chinese restaurant that we always used to eat at. And remember how I said it's a train town. As I'm crossing this street to go into downtown, the crossing guards start flashing, and they're about to start dropping. And so I've got my dad sitting shotgun going, go, go, go. My mom sitting in the back seat going, stop, stop, stop. And I've got my brother all the way we're in a minivan. He's in the back bench seat with all 3 seat belts over him, because he thinks he's going to die, going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I'm listening to both of my parents, and I end up going and stopping on top of the train tracks.
No!
The crossing coming down behind the car. And I mean, we're there for like a split second. And it was just enough for me to tell my mom, you need to shut up. I'm listening to Dad. And then I go.
Especially at that moment, listen to Dad.
Oh, it was so exhausting. But like, given how reactive my mom is, it can be fun sometimes to watch her in the car. A couple of weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, I was taking them up to the airport, and we were in my mom's car. I was sitting behind her in the passenger seat, and she's driving up to the airport because I'm going to take the car back to their house. The airport's about 45 minutes away, depending on traffic. We're waiting to get on this highway that it's a state route, 2-lane state route that's used a lot by agriculturalists and other passengers moving up and down the valley. And it actually passes right by my house over here. And so we're waiting to get on. We're at this intersection, and a semi with a trailer is turning onto the road that we're on, and there's plenty of clearance. But my mom's not paying attention, and we're facing east, so the sun's in her eyes. She's got her visor down. All of a sudden, she looks out of her periphery, and this truck is there, and she goes, and she freezes like that. And my dad just turned to her. He's like, "What are you doing?"
Hands off the wheel, as in.
Well, she gripped the wheel.
Oh,
she gripped the wheel, like white knuckling it. And he's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Well, I thought he was going to hit us." He's like, "You think that's going to save you from getting hit?" And she's like, "Shut up." And I'm like, "Mom, it's probably a better idea to not hold the steering wheel." She's like, "It makes me feel safe." I'm like, "Yeah, but if he actually hit you, your hands would be broken."
Yeah.
Because it's going to push that steering column right into your wrists.
The involuntary things we do, and actually the reality is, that's not going to help you at all. My dad, my dad, he's an alright guy, but an incredibly sexist driver. I just just
laugh, but
well, yeah, it's one of the things that sticks in my mind is going, "Oh, bloody women drivers," and Dad, as a younger person, Dad. That's a man, or probably taught by a woman. Then you're like, "Oh my god, this is like unbelievable." And when just after I passed my test, he's a lot better now, thankfully. I don't think my stepmom would put up with it now, but just after I passed my test, I took him to the car garage. His car was being serviced. And so I kind of picked him up and took him home. And there's this big roundabout. It's kind of four lanes going off into various different kind of parts of the city. And this is in a place called Portsmouth, Naval Town, or Naval City. It goes off into different parts of the motorway. And this is kind of my first time attacking this kind of behemoth of a roundabout. And so I'm like, okay, just tell me where to go. And my dad's always been very, very cut, very dry. Just tell you exactly what it means. This is obviously must have been his sensitive side, because we go, okay, just move as far over as you can get. Okay, so I've kind of moved over up 2 lanes, and we'll go around. He said, no, you got to move over further. So you said just move as far as I could get. He said, "What? No, yeah, but I meant all the way over." I was like, "Well, Dad, this isn't the time to now be careful with me." We went around this roundabout 3 times because I was now right. I'm in this lane. There's traffic everywhere, and I was being the driver that now would annoy the hell out of me.
Oh my god!
Just go around. It's like, just move over. I was like, "Well, there's traffic around." So round we go again. So okay, now move over just 1 lane. Just move it. So okay, move over 1 lane, go around again, then moved over again. I was like, I look back. And I drove in a previous job kind of 1,500 miles in the shop. So now I'm really kind of confident with it. But I think, I'm getting too relaxed. Like I say, the other day, I did a really stupid maneuver. I was going to miss a turn, which in the end wasn't actually the right woman turn-in. And I had my boys in the car, so 15 and 9. Taking my son to basketball practice, and I was like, that's the turn in. Indicate. I always indicate. I'm a firm believer in indicating, but I kind of shot over 2 lanes and had to put the brake on because it was on a slip road turning off. and this car beeped at me, and I sat there kind of at this lights of the where I was thinking, yeah, that was stupid. And that for 2 days, I was like, God, that was stupid. Because now that person as well, though, I did one stupid thing because I was too confident and it was wrong. I should have gone up and turned around. But that person now thinks I'm a bad driver.
Yeah.
And we'll know that for the rest of the time. I think great phrase. Is anyone going faster than you is a maniac. Anyone going slower than you is an idiot. And I think that's what sums up driving, isn't it? Everyone's a good driver. I know that I was going to be fine, so I'm not a bad driver. You're just not a confident driver, and people justify it. We've all done silly things. I think essentially you need less cars on the road, in all. But
it depends on where you're at, because like where we are, I mean, we have a lot of rural areas, and so my son's school is 5 miles away from where I live. And so on those mornings where I'm taking him to school, having a car is great, because I don't even my house is not even in that same school district. And he's too young to be riding the bus until like 2nd or 3rd grade. So it would make sense for where we are to have more vehicles. Whereas like you go to a larger city, like, Los Angeles, Manhattan, stuff like that. Public transit should be more the norm, because it makes it easier to get where you want to go.
Like London here, there's no point in owning a car in London.
Yeah,
you just can't move because all the other cars are there.
Yeah, the one time I've been to London was about 22 years ago, and I was able to get around just fine using the tube and the occasional bus or taxi, but mostly it was either walking or riding the subway.
In the undergrounds, yeah. That's it. Well, just put just underground trains everywhere. But I do think you solved this very early on, Garrett. The idea of a little box that you can dial in a license plate, and it just connects you to that car. It should be. There should be certain kind of regulations. Obviously, you can only do it if someone's done something bad, or you get taken away or fined or something, because you can't just do it to call in and start chatting people up, or
you're given so many call permissions per day or week.
But also, or how's about for every call you kind of have to say negatively about someone, you have to do a positive one for someone else. So I'm struggling to get my words out, but yes, for every negative you have to say, hey, nice cornering, buddy. Hey, you've parked that like a boss. Well done. And to try and get a bit of equilibrium.
Unfortunately, too many people think you're being sarcastic, and then just dude, come on, really trying here.
My kid will be in the car. Yeah, nice parking with his air quotes.
Oh my god.
Oh man, Garrett, there's definitely meat for the bones there. But yes. Please, we're just about out of time. Please tell us. I know obviously you've got the books. Tell us about the books.
Yeah, so I write medieval fantasy, so sword and sorcery type stuff. The series is called The Archives of St. Gran, which means the 5 kingdoms. You can find the books on Amazon. All 4 of them are in Kindle and paperback edition. You can also order them directly from my website, archivesoftheFiveKingdoms.com, which is also a companion site. So maps, character profiles, history timeline, pronunciation guides for all the books. It's all there, free to access, and it's really good, especially if you're using the Kindle edition, so you can bounce back and forth. But I decided not to backload that into the books like a lot of other fantasy writers do, because then I hate flipping pages. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at GKJ_Publishing, same at, and then I'm on YouTube, GKJ Publishing. I do a series called The Right Way, where I do top 10 book recommendations, author interviews, and then I do a once a month creative writing tip.
Wow, it's very busy.
Yeah, I have to. I gotta stay out of trouble.
Well, all the links will be in the bio for the episode, and I'll be certainly checking out the writing tips. Have you got one about how telling everyone you're going to write the second book, but then never actually writing it?
Not particularly on that topic, but I have a full list of creative writing topics that you can pull from. This season, I'm actually talking about world building. In fact, next weekend, the 29th of October, my first writing tip for season 5 will be launching.
Wow. I'll be sure to check it out. Look, Garrett, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. My cheeks hurt from laughing so much. I'm going to get a patent sorted for a little box for the car. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely.